You are listening to the Two Writers Walk Into a Bar podcast. In every episode, our goal is to help, inspire, and celebrate authors' journey to publication by reading and critiquing query letters, then tackle a writing topic we hope you find helpful. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to our regular scheduled programming.
Yep.
We have a query today. We have a topic of discussion. We finished our Stephen King. If you guys haven't listened, we went over his On Writing book. Then we did a little birthday celebration. We quizzed Ken on his knowledge of Stephen
That was
King. If
horrible.
you haven't listened to it, go listen to it because it's pretty funny. I think it's pretty funny.
Yes. It's
And you might
hilarious
learn
how
some of these
poorly I did.
stuff.
Yeah,
Hey, you know what? It was a good try. Okay. And I mean,
it
like you
was.
said, those questions were kind of tough, but
They were
anyway.
tough. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway.
But welcome back, guys. We're excited about tonight's episode. My internet's kind of glitchy, so we might have to keep this a little bit short. But Ken, I am having a beer in my Dungeons and
Nice.
Dragons tavern mug, pint, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. What are you
Hell
drinking
yeah.
tonight?
I am drinking Moab the Grand again.
Your
The
favorite?
light kind of
Wow,
on it. Yeah, I
nice.
love this beer. I've got so much of it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we need to get you like some cool mugs.
I know, right? I got to clean out some of my dad's old steins and break them
Oh
out.
yeah, there you go. Oh
Yeah,
man, you should have totally we could have totally done that.
I should have. Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
this took so long to set up that my beer is warm, so I definitely feel like I'm in a tavern, drinking tavern beer right now.
Yeah, for sure. I got a bowl of ice at my feet, so mine are cold.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice. I should probably done that. Yeah, we had some technical difficulties. We've been trying to do this episode for a minute, but
Yeah.
anyway, so how was your week?
Long, tiring, the usual.
Has
Um,
it cooled down or is it still hot?
yeah, it snowed here in Utah today.
What the heck? What?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Are you serious? What are you like
Yeah.
up in the mountains or something?
I'm right next to some huge mountains, but yeah, it was like
Oh my
40
gosh.
degrees to 40 degrees, 45 today, maybe.
Oh heck no.
Yeah, it
Well,
was cold.
it was a cold 70 degrees here.
Yeah, you suck.
Sorry.
No,
I'm so
you're
sorry.
good.
It was hot. I was hot at work, had all the fans going. I was so hot. Oh my
I
gosh.
just took out my air conditioner. Like, yeah,
Yeah, I was trying for the heater and the fireplace. That's
yeah,
nice. Honestly, it's October,
yeah,
you guys. We are finally in Halloween. It's Halloween, okay? As far as I'm concerned, October 1st is Halloween. I love Halloween. It's my
yeah, me
favorite
too.
holiday. My son's birthday was yesterday. I had a kid. I slid him right in there, man. He came in October 1st. I got my kid. I'm just kidding.
Hell yeah.
But I'm so excited. I love the Halloween season. I love when we finally get that cold weather.
Yeah.
Um, we finally can like turn like use a fireplace and all that shit. But
Hell yeah.
anyway, Ken. So I convinced Ken to listen to Empire of the Vampire, and he has some thoughts. I don't know if you guys have read this book or listened to the audio. I read this book. It's by Christoph, I think Jay Christoph.
Christoph. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was pretty popular, I think, was it 2020, 21, 22? I
Yeah.
can't remember when it came out. He's got the second one coming out, but it was interesting.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And Ken has just informed me, he's like, "What are you having me listen to?"
Yeah.
I'm
I'm not
so
even that
sorry.
far in. I'm only like 5 or 6 hours into the audiobook because that's my best way to consume books at the moment. But yeah, it's just full of like incest and
Yes.
like making out with his sister, and then the guy describes everything. It was pretty crazy. I mean, it's good in places where he's not smooching on his sister.
I mean, was like kind of excited in the fact that these vampires are a little bit different. So if you guys don't know, Jay Kristoff's vampires, they kind of they work for the church. There's vampires that work for the church to to assassinate other vampires. They hate being a vampire and they go and assassinate other vampires. And basically the main character is taken prisoner by another vampire, essentially. And he's asking
Yeah.
him his life and basically interviewing him,
Yeah.
interview with the vampire type thing. But anyway, I'm really sorry. I don't know. You don't have to
No,
finish listening to it.
no, it's good outside of the weird, like, super descriptive moments. It's not bad. Like, I really like the 4 different, like, main vampire blood things going
The
on, and
bloodlines and the
yeah, that's
families.
interesting for
I
sure.
mean, yeah, there's some interesting things there, but then there's just some really it gets a little weird. There was one scene where I was like, "Do we really need this?" Like, I don't know. But
Yeah,
anyway, so you guys, we can talk about it more too because we're gonna talk about some magic systems today, and we'll but we have a query. So we actually have a very unique situation here. Alyssa is the author that sent us. Her name is Alyssa Barrera. She sent us her query and her first pages. And as she sent us her query and first pages, she ended up getting picked up by an indie publisher, like literally seconds, she said. She sent it to us, and then seconds later, she got accepted. A publishing picked it up. An indie publisher picked it up. But she did say that we could still critique her query and her first pages just because she's kind of just looking, she knows she's going to start doing edits with the publisher.
yeah,
And so she said she was open to it. So I kind of want to read the query because I think the query is pretty decent. And if you're listening, you might be thinking, hey, you know what? She got a publishing. I mean, granted, it's an indie publisher, but still, I mean, she's getting
yeah,
published.
that's
So and
cool.
she doesn't have to go the agent route. I actually, I know a girl on Instagram who just does straight indie publishing. She doesn't have an agent, and she just puts out books all the time. And, if that's something that sounds interesting to you, then you could definitely do that and still have a career in writing. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and start with her query. Um, she says she wrote it a little bit different. Hey, Deanna. Always nice to have her stop by.
Yeah,
Okay, so this author split up the query a little differently. At the top, she has the genre is fiction, mystery, romance, thriller. Her word count for her book is 81,000. And then she has her bio about her personally, where she's from, and why she wants to be a writer. I'm gonna go ahead and just skip that part because it's kind of personal
yeah.
information. So I'm gonna go, and then she has a little book synopsis. I'm gonna read the book synopsis, and then she has her 3 paragraphs for her query. So I'm gonna go
Oh,
ahead and go into
interesting.
that. Okay, so here this is the book synopsis. Lauren, the youngest principal player of the New York Symphony, is slated to marry her fiance Michael, one of the most prominent socialites in New York, thanks to his family, the Barretts, the most used architectural company within the tri-state area. It was to be one of the most significant social occasions of the year. That's her synopsis that she wrote. And then below that, she has the query, which says, on the night of their first day of vacation to plan their dream wedding, Lauren finds Michael murdered in their home. From planning their wedding, she's to plan his funeral. Grieving his death, she returns to work before they leave on a 3-month tour, only to find out she's pregnant with her late fiance's child. She hides her pregnancy, keeping it on a need to know basis until she can't hide it any longer. While doing so, she falls in love with another man, which takes her completely by surprise. While still closely grieving the death of her soon to be spouse, she plans for the months ahead in her pregnancy with her lover by her side. Upon the arrival of her newborn, she finds some skeletons in her lover's closet, bringing back a feeling that had sat dormant for some time. While balancing the life of a new parent along with this information, she battles her emotions, though one thought keeps arising in her mind. Should she seek revenge for the love of her life that was taken away from her on purpose, or save the life she fought so hard to get from the life she had before? So that's the query. It's actually pretty short, pretty decent. I think it kind of sets up everything. It sets up what's going to happen to her. We can clearly see that she's going to be working through those emotions as she starts this new relationship. And obviously, there's some secret there. There's a secret there that she discovers about this new guy. And just by giving the genre, the fiction, mystery, romance thriller, I'm thinking this guy's, is pretty scary.
Sounds like it.
Um, so we definitely get an idea of what's going to happen here, what's happening, and the choices that she's going to have to make something. She's going to have to do something. I mean, all in all, it's not that bad. Um, we know that she wanted to get married, and then, obviously him getting murdered completely ruins everything for her. And then finding out that she's pregnant, I mean, that's just like a double blow.
Yeah,
But you're bringing a new life, so you have to, you have to keep moving forward. Um, so I think all in all, I think this is, I mean, obviously it worked for her. She got picked up by an indie publisher. So I think that, I think what's interesting is that it's a little bit different than what we normally push for on here, like setting up her desire, setting up like what's, like taking that away. But she kind of has that, you know what I mean? Like she
yeah,
obviously wanted to marry this man and then he dies.
yeah,
And I think this just works for a thriller, a mystery thriller. You're kind of wondering, you're kind of wondering about the new guy. There's some mystery there that we're already picking up on, like something's up with this guy.
yeah.
So I will say, I don't know. I like that she doesn't have any comps, but Ken, would you like to share? I thought this was interesting, and I don't know. I mean, I think we should talk about it.
Yeah, I was watching some bookend videos, the bookend literary agency, and the
Mhm.
agent said that comp titles aren't really needed in a query letter, which is a deviation from the norm that we're used to.
But what
So,
do we normally, yeah, what we normally hear from
yeah,
other agents. You know what? I mean, maybe things are changing. I don't know. I mean, she doesn't have comps on here
yeah,
unless she left them off.
yeah,
But, I don't see any comps on this, and, she got picked up, you guys, she got picked up by an indie publisher.
yeah,
So, we wanna look into it a little bit more about the whole comps things. I know some agents still ask for it,
yeah,
but this is definitely new information. I don't know, we're gonna dive into it a little bit more, and look into it because I thought that was interesting.
for sure.
I thought comps were important, at least to an agent, just to see how they're going to sell it
Yeah,
to an editor and at a publisher house. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting, and the fact that she doesn't have it in her query and she was able to get picked up. So I don't know. Maybe things are changing in the traditional publishing world. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. Alyssa, I thought your query was pretty solid, honestly.
yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty solid. She did send in the first few pages, and it felt like it was, a prologue. She didn't say it was a prologue, but it starts off with the fiancé, Michael, and we're in his point of view, and Lauren just went to work. They kiss each other goodbye, or not to work. She went to go play at the symphony, and, um there's a knock on the door. He goes to answer it. He recognizes who this person is. We don't know as the reader, we don't know who it is. And he's asking himself, like, what is this guy doing here? And he tries to get rid of him. He tries to tell him, like, yeah, I don't really want to do this right now. Have a nice life. See ya. Tries to close the door on him, and the guy blocks the door, sticks his foot in there in his hand. He's like, I really just want to talk. So he lets him in, and as they're talking, this guy's kind of like darting around the room, and Michael is thinking, oh, he's looking for Lauren. They have this exchange. They clearly knew each other from the past, and Michael keeps telling this other guy, we don't know who he is, but he's basically like, she's mine. She was never yours. We're getting married, blah, 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 right?
yeah,
And he kills him and he leaves him to die. Lauren comes home and she's trying to save him and he dies. And those were the first pages that she sent us. I will say reading them, Alyssa, and obviously you're going to be working with an editor soon, so you guys are going to be bouncing ideas. There were some sentences that probably could be restructured, rewritten. They were a little bit choppy, or they didn't flow well. I mean, it's not bad, but I mean, it needed to flow a little bit better. It didn't read very smooth. Um, and I don't know if you need this prologue. I kind of feel like maybe you can, I don't know. I mean, obviously this is just an idea, but I was thinking maybe going back and seeing this later. Maybe we start off with the book and I don't know, she's meeting the new guy or whatever. I don't know. I just felt like starting off with his murder right away kind of revealed who the we know who this guy is, but unless that's what you're going for, I got the vibe that the new lover that she picks up is this guy. And, I don't know if you wanna know like, her people to know that right away, or maybe just let her discover that. Let her discover that he has a history with Michael. I think that would be more interesting, and let him come across as a reader as this really nice guy that's gonna sweep her off her feet, almost like a Prince Charming, too perfect, where we're questioning, and then as she starts to find things and it unravels, and then she discovers that this is the guy that kills him, I feel like that would be a little bit more entertaining. But that's just my critique. So obviously,
Yeah,
you and your editor are going to be doing something, whatever you guys decide. But I just thought it'd be interesting if we discovered this later as kind of like the twist or something.
yeah.
So that was
But
my only thought because,
she also might have something planned that we didn't get we weren't privy to that might we
totally.
might find interesting, so, you know.
Totally.
But yeah, I get
Absolutely.
where you're saying.
That's why I'm like, to take, she did ask for a little bit of critique on those first
Yeah,
pages, and she was open to it. I don't know your story, but and I could be totally wrong. This may not even be the guy. This might be a totally different
yeah.
guy. But he probably is probably a different guy. But
Maybe.
anyway,
Yeah,
thank you for sending us that. That was really interesting. Congratulations on getting
for
picked
sure.
up. Definitely let us know when that's coming out. If they give you a release date, we would love to have you on the show and interview you and talk to you about this process. Maybe some of our listeners might be thinking of going the indie publisher route versus seeking out an agent.
Yeah,
So, yeah, thank you, Alyssa, and we appreciate you sending in your info.
for sure.
So, yeah, yeah. Did you have anything else to add?
Um, just I thought the query was pretty good. Had a nice little hook there that
Hmm.
was interesting, so well done on that.
Yep.
And I recently learned how
Yes.
important queries are. So so yeah.
He doesn't wanna
Uh,
listen to me, he'll listen to everybody else but me.
no, I listened to you, but like I thought my work just so you know, queries are pretty freaking important. All right, just so you know, because I didn't know that until pretty recently. I would write queries that would are passable at best, and I thought my writing would carry. Turns out if your query shit, nobody's gonna actually read your work, so work on that query, even though it's very difficult to do.
That's why we're, critiquing, other writers' queries because it is so important, and that's why we always talk about having a hook
Yeah,
because, and it's not all agents. I mean, there's a good amount, though, that will pass on your pages if they read the query and they're just like, pass," and
yeah,
they won't read those pages, and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, but my pages are so good, my writing is so
yeah,
good." But they'll never get there if you don't have a good enough query. So that's why it's so important. And you know that it's it's really hard out there. I mean, there's a lot of competition, more
yeah.
competition than there has ever been. So, I mean, you really, really want to get that query letter just like as perfect as possible.
Well, from what I've heard,
Um,
upwards of 90% of agents, if your query doesn't cut the cake, they
Yeah.
won't even look at your pages. It's as high as 90%, like,
Yeah, and
so
that's pretty it's pretty bad.
yeah. And I've even heard
So,
higher, like closer to 95. I thought I heard an agent say, which shocked me because I was the guy that thought my pages would carry the day. So I know there's some of you out there that thought the way I did,
yeah,
you know, and it's very important to understand the query is so important. And I didn't realize that till this week because I'm a dummy
yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, just kidding.
I am.
No, it's yeah, well, that's why we're here, guys, and we're gonna help you. Just like we're helping each other. Ken and I help each other. We are
Yeah,
critique partners. We're each other's critique partners. So it's important to get your work looked at because, like I've always said from the very beginning, you just can't see those flaws in your own work. That's why it's important to have fresh eyes look at your stuff. So
for sure.
um but, lesson learned, moving on, moving forward. We know we have to have a kick-ass query. And if you're listening and you have a query and maybe you're not sure about it, email it to us to two writers in a bar at gmail.com. You can send us your query letter and your first 3 pages. And the reason why we ask for the 3 pages, just to see if the story is grabbing us like it should. Those first 3 pages should really be intriguing enough for us to want to read more.
Yeah,
That's when the agent's gonna be like, "Oh, I need to read the rest of this," and request that full manuscript request. That's what we're aiming for.
yeah.
So yeah, send us your queries in first 3 pages to our email, two writers in a bar at gmail.com. We're always here to help, guys. We want to help as best we can, and celebrate with you guys. And then, like Alyssa, have her come back, interview her, talk about her book, and support her.
That'd be cool.
I mean, that's what we're all about. We have to support each other
Yeah,
and support each other's works, and I don't know. Just it's good to network and have a group of other writers to support you.
100%.
Um, okay, so Ken, you and I like to write fantasy. We like to read fantasy. I've written a fantasy book. You are querying a fantasy book. I think you're getting
Yeah,
ready to start another one. I
yeah.
know that I'm trying to finish up a contemporary paranormal young adult book, but my next book that I want to write, I already know that it's going to be a fantasy setting. There's going to be witches and there's going to be a magic system.
Yeah,
Now, I haven't worked out that magic system yet, but I've done that before on another book.
yeah.
So I looked up different magic systems out there, and I like to use Holly Black's magic system, and I'll talk about that. I'll read what she has. But also Brandon Sanderson has a 3 rules to magic systems.
Yeah,
So I thought that we could talk about it because your magic system that you created for the book that you're querying right now
yeah.
is really, really cool. I really like it. It has to
Thank
do with
you.
like mushrooms, which I
Yeah,
love. I
it's
won't go
mushroom
into any
sword.
more,
Yeah.
but hey, writer friends! Querying is hard, and putting together a query letter is even harder. We want to help, so send us your query letter and first 3 pages to two writers in a bar at gmail.com and we'll query on air. And don't forget to tell us where we can find you on social media so we can share it with all our listeners. We want to help, inspire, and celebrate with you on your writing journey.
No more than
I
that.
mean, yes, let's definitely, without giving away too much.
Yeah,
But I gotta say that I'm writing this book, obviously. I'm writing this contemporary paranormal book, but I'm always thinking about my next project.
oh,
And
yeah.
in between writing, I make notes. I don't know if you do this, but I'll make notes about the next book and I'm like, I need a magic system, right? Like I
Ah,
know I have to have this magic system.
yeah.
But I wanted to ask you because I know you're not a plotter. I know you're not a
No,
plotter, but did you create the magic system before you wrote, or did you just discover it?
nope. I just made it up.
Okay.
I literally every
Okay.
book I write,
Uh,
I have one singular image of something
okay.
happening or a character doing something, and then the whole thing
Right.
explodes from there. Yeah,
So you guys know I'm a plotter. Okay. and I have to think about the magic and see how it's gonna work and, all these different things. So, I like to follow Holly Black. Holly Black has, I'll read it here, it's on my phone. One of these are questions that she asks herself when she's writing a magic system. Her questions are, "Who has it? What does it do? How do you make it happen? How is a user affected? How is the world affected? How are magic users grouped and perceived?" So I used that on my last fantasy book. I kind of used that sort of magic system. I
Yeah,
Those are the questions that I asked myself. Um, and I actually, because I had hired an editor, I know I told you guys I had hired this editor, and she actually was like, because when I first started writing that story, I didn't have any rules or limitations. Like my character was just out here with full power.
hell yeah,
And but, I mean, you don't wanna read about a full power, there has to be, like, limitations, there has to be something because they can't just save themselves, with their magic all the time, like, it can't just be like they can
yeah.
rely on it, so there
Well,
has to have and
Superman has kryptonite for a reason.
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Superman is like the strong alien being, whatever, but it's that kryptonite literally turns him into a regular
yeah,
human being, whatever, on
yeah,
Earth being, whatever, I
yeah,
don't know. So you definitely have to have these like limitations. There needs to be some sort of rules set up. Um, and I know I use this a lot just because I read all the books but J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter books, she definitely had a lot of these rules, probably
yeah,
even maybe the same. It's like not everybody knew the our world didn't know the Muggle world didn't know about the wizards. They didn't even know that there was even magic in their world or even in this,
yeah,
whatever. And then of course she has the whole like mudbloods things. If you're half human, I mean half one witch and then or one wizard and parent and the other one's just a normal muggle, they're looked down upon.
yeah.
So I just wanted to ask you, off the top of your head, if you could think of a favorite magic system in any of the books that fantasy books that you read, what is it? And then why did you love that magic system? What made it interesting to you as a reader?
Yeah. Um, I would say that's a tough question right off the top, but
Okay.
I think I have an answer to that. It's the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson himself. Um, the magic
Okay.
system,
So I haven't read that one.
yeah. Uh, so far there's 4 books. It's in a ten book series, planned series. Um,
Mhm.
but
So for those of us who haven't read it, what is the magic system?
well, magic system's interesting because it's shard blades. It's these magical blades, and they're super rare. There's only like 10 to 20 in the entire world, and they're summoned by
Okay.
they're summoned from a different realm through, like, you have to wait 10 heartbeats to summon your shard blade. Um,
Oh
and
wow.
without
Okay.
spoiling it too much, like, later
So
on, you learn that these I don't wanna spoil it, but, like, there's some magical stuff in a different world that cause you know, that are these blades. I don't wanna ruin it, never mind, I can't go that detailed, but it and then there's shard plate too, which is kind of
but
the yeah.
there was limitations though, right? Like, they couldn't rely on that fully to beat the enemies or whatever, or could they?
No, they could, but they were
They
so
could
rare that there was
Did
only,
it
like,
come
20
as
of them in the world.
was there a cost though? Was there like I always think of, I don't know if you guys remember that TV show, Once Upon a Time, where Rumpelstiltskin was always saying, magic comes at a price. There's always a price to pay when you use magic.
Well, I mean, they're worth fortunes, they're worth empires, each blade
Okay.
and plate set is worth fortune. I mean, there's other magic within that system too, which is happens later on in the series, so I don't really wanna spoil that or get into that,
Okay.
but the blades themselves, like, I don't even know if that's technically a magic system. Um,
Do the
technically,
blades give them powers?
they cut through everything.
Okay.
They cut through stone, they cut through so they're magical blades, but I
So,
don't
like,
know if
one blade more powerful than the others, or
no.
like
I mean, I guess
well
technically there's one that's, it'll spoil a whole bunch of shit. I don't even know if that's
well
technically a magic system, to be fair.
well, what about Star Wars? I mean, I know it's not really magic, but, like,
The Force,
there
yeah.
there are rules in the Force, right?
Okay, I got one for you. Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn. That magic system is another one
Okay,
that I really love. This one
okay,
is
and I need to
ingesting
read that book.
metals. Yes,
Yes.
it's ingesting metals, different metals. Different people are born. And there's like 8 of them, right?
Okay.
Each does a different thing. Like one can like soothe people to make them calm down.
Oh, okay.
One metal can riot people to cause them to go crazy. One gives you super strength. Well, one allows you to attract metal, one allows you to repel metal. So you can like throw coins in the ground and like shoot yourself up in the air. And then Mistborns, which are super
So
rare, mythical, have all 8 of the powers.
oh,
The
okay,
elementic
okay.
powers, yeah.
So it's kind of well, because I mean, there has to be Brandon Sanderson. I was listening to his Three Rules of Magic.
Yeah.
And I'll read those to you guys so that you know what I'm talking about. But he has three laws of magic. Okay. And he says the first law of magic that he goes by, Sanderson's first law of magic, an author's ability to solve conflict with magic is directly proportional to how well the reader understands said magic. The second law, Sanderson's second law, can be written very simply. It goes like this: limitations is powers or greater powers, or if you want to write it in a clever electronic notation, which I don't even know how to read. Um, so basically, you need to have some limitations on the powers that you give your characters or the magic, right? And then the third law is expand what you already have before you add something new. But I like the idea of having limitations. And that was something that I thought about with my first fantasy story, was if using their magic did cost them a little bit. It cost them, and so they couldn't use it in battles. They
Yeah.
could not rely on it. They still had to rely on their physical strength and how to fight,
Yeah.
even though they were magical beings, because it cost them so much of their life source that they just in battles, it was not something that they would even do. Um, and I think that it's important to have limitations because otherwise your reader's going to feel like they're going to, when that big climax happens, that bad thing, or they're stuck, and you're, as a reader, you're asking yourself, how are they going to get out of this? If there's
Yeah.
no limitation, you already know, like, oh, well, they're just going to use their whatever, their power, their wand, or whatever it is, and they're going to get out of it. And that's not exciting. That is
Yeah.
not exciting at all. You
No.
want your reader to be anxious. You want your reader to be like, "How the fuck are they gonna get out of this?" You
Yeah.
know, because you when you set up the magic, you set up those limitations, and so the reader's like, "Well, they can't do this because they said this happens, or they can't do this because this happens. So what are they gonna do?" Right?
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. And I think that's one thing that I like too about I know it's not really magic, but Star Wars, like the
The
Jedis
Force is
can't
magic.
have I mean, I guess so. I guess it's magic, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
What would you call it?
Like you can mind, you know, these aren't the droids you're
Right,
looking
yeah.
for, you can push people away, pull stuff. It's magic, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But, like, they can't control everybody, right? And they
No.
wouldn't control everybody. They really can't because some people have stronger minds, they cannot be controlled.
Yeah. Like Watto in the Phantom Empire or the Phantom Menace.
Yes.
Phantom Empire.
The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Yes, I love
Menace, yeah. Watto
that
and
part.
then
He's like, "Only money."
yeah, exactly. And then also they have their rigid Jedi structure where they wouldn't abuse this power, right? that
Right.
keeps them from
Right,
doing
so
something.
you already know because they could go to the dark side if they
Yeah,
do, right?
yeah,
And there's, like, that fine line where, if you abuse it, you can go to the dark side, and
yeah,
that's, like, forbidden, and you don't wanna do that. You'll lose your soul and who you are and all of that, right?
yeah,
But, so would you say in your book that you wrote, do you feel like you have those things even though you didn't plot it?
yeah.
But do you feel like you have
Oh, yeah.
those things? Because, I mean, you've read enough fantasy stories that you know that there has to be some limitations there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I won't go into too much detail, but I have a big encounter in the middle where he runs out of his spores because he needs to refill them, and they
Right.
face this great threat, and he doesn't have those things, and they're screwed.
So he has to rely on something else. I
Yep.
think it's interesting too when they don't rely on their magic. I
Yeah,
feel like then it's like that kind of shows their a little bit of their character arc. So it's like
yeah,
that strength that they find within themselves. Maybe they've relied too much on their magic. Then it's no longer there that they can use. And so now they have to just believe in themselves or believe that, you know what I mean?
yeah, of course, 100%. There's also the learning that their magic can do something completely different they had no idea that it could do.
Yes. Yes,
That's
and
the other
Brandon
side.
Sanderson says that he he kinda likes that, but he says it should come I don't know, it doesn't say it should, but he's like, it's always good when it's a new character comes
Yeah,
on board and they kind of introduce this whole new, like, aspect of the power that the reader didn't know before,
yeah,
and then we know we're gonna, like, see it in action or whatever. So I thought
yeah,
that was kinda cool. So,
for sure.
there's a lot of different things to think about when you're building a magic system, but I kinda go to, and these are just questions that I ask myself, it's like, "Who has the magic?" In my first fantasy story, only a certain group of people had the magic, no one else had it.
Yeah,
And then what does it do? I had this whole thing of what their magic did, why they got it, how they got it, when they use it, and when not to use it. Because I knew that, like, I mean, obviously, I could have relied completely on the magic I set up, but then that's not fun. So I kind of
yeah,
like the idea that they couldn't do that. How does it affect your people that use it? I mean, one of the things that Brandon Sanders said, it's kind of like the go-to. It's not really a cliche, but it's like they lose their energy. But he's like, make it different. Like maybe they lose something else. What if like their a grandparent dies every time they use their magic, whatever, and so they
yeah,
only have 4 times that they can use this magic. But when they do it, it comes at a really great cost. That they're gonna lose a family member or something, which I thought
yeah,
was really interesting.
yeah,
Because giving that limitation, just makes it more, intriguing, I guess.
yeah.
Is that the right word?
Yeah, it definitely is more intriguing because if you have almighty power, you have to have limitations. It's like the story of the guy that goes to heaven. He wins the poker game. He goes home with the girl. He drives the nicest car, and at the end of the week, he's like, "This fucking sucks." And he's like, "Yeah, you're in hell." He walks up to the angel. The angel says, "Yeah, you're in hell.
No, no.
You always win at everything." You know what I mean? Like, you don't want a
Oh,
character that just dominates everything. What's the point?
yeah, and that goes into that Mary Sue character that's like
Yeah,
it's the death, right? Like, no one wants to read a Mary Sue character that's always winning, always getting everything they ever want, and nothing is ever hard for them. Like, yeah, that's boring.
like I liked the new Star Wars movie, but Ray was a bit of a Mary Sue, and she made me upset in a couple instances that drove me
Yeah,
crazy.
because she was too good, and it was just like, "Why? Why is she so good?"
I was
Eh,
okay with
eh,
most everything, but when she told Han Solo how to fix the Millennium Falcon, bitch, you're telling Han fucking Solo how to make the Millennium Falcon better. All right, you're
like,
19. You're
sit
come
down,
on. That's
sit
Han
down.
fucking Solo. That's his fucking ship. I was like, no,
Have
you
some
can't.
respect, okay?
Yeah, for real. Put some respect in my boy's
You know
name.
what? We might have to do like a whole Star Wars thing because
Yeah,
I feel like once Disney took over, I don't know, it just kind of lost
it did.
some of that
Like, The
yeah,
Mandalorian
I don't
had a
know.
little magic, but I think that's because Disney was hands off, a little
Yes,
bit. They
because
let
what was the director? What was his name? John.
John
Oh my
my
gosh.
brain,
I mean, he,
I know
he
his name.
directed he directed Elf. Like,
Yes. Why am I drawing a blank? John
oh my god.
I
Okay,
can
let me
see him, I
see.
know what he looks like.
Yes,
The
me
beard,
too.
the hair.
Oh, hold on. I am searching it
Holy
up.
shit.
Okay. Oh, Jon Favreau. Oh my god,
Favreau!
he did Iron Man, Elf. Oh my
Yes,
god.
we're idiots, that's
We're
okay.
too old.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, I agree because I felt like he was such a Star Wars fan. He definitely knew
Yes.
what we wanted and like gave it to us. And then Disney listened, thank God.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah,
But yeah, so I mean, I'm thinking about I really want to start this new book. I gotta finish this book I'm writing right now because I'm determined to finish it.
yeah,
Just like how I can't DNF a fucking book. I
yes.
can't stop writing in a story. Like I
Well,
just
that's what I meant to ask you earlier, like,
okay.
how much did you fucking write this week? I know it's a little fucking
I
detour, but
have almost 13,000.
that's fucking sweet. Did you, like, you do
Well,
well,
I
like
will well, I will say yes, I will say that the reason why I didn't get so much in was because I was thinking there were things that I had to work out,
yeah,
like, just because it was like, okay, I needed to work a couple things out so that the story made sense, and then I had
fair
kinda
enough.
had to go back a little bit
Yeah,
and fix some stuff, because, like I said, I do plot, like, a little bit of things, but I also let the story sort of reveal itself to me, and so
yeah,
sometimes I have to go back and change things at the beginning because it'll bug me if I don't. I know I shouldn't
yeah,
do that, but it'll bug me if I don't. So I have to
yeah,
go back and change it because I know where it's at. I can find it easily enough and just go in and fix it.
ah,
But yeah, I have almost 13,000 words. I really want to
nice.
get it done. I want to get it done. I woke up this morning and I was like, okay, so I my last book, I finished that in May.
Yeah,
So, June, July, August, September, October, 5 months later, and I still don't have a finished book,
yeah,
and it's bugging me because 'cause I'm like, "I shoulda had a finished book." If
for sure.
I just I don't know. Like, I don't know what happened. I had, like, a mental, like, I'm worthless, I'm not a good writer, that whole thing
Me
messed
too.
me up, and yeah, and all I kept thinking was, "Oh my god, I coulda had a finished book by now had I
Yeah,
not gone through the 5 months. I wrote the other book in 5 months. I coulda had another book finished, and so
yeah.
it's bugging me now. Now I'm like, "I gotta get this shit done." But
Oh, yeah.
like I said, I'm always thinking about the new book that I wanna write, and, I gotta think of, figure out a magic system, and I don't want it to be the same
Yeah.
as I've done in the past, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, what about you? How much writing did you get done this week?
A shit ton. I'm back.
Alright.
Back.
How many words? Because we were at the same, while there we both had 11,000.
1,100 a day, so whatever the hell that is from 11,000. I don't know.
Okay, so we're probably about the same.
Probably
I have
close to the
almost
same,
13.
yeah.
Yeah, oh, I
Yeah,
think a little over 12, almost 13. So we're
yeah.
probably about the
And I
same.
and I have to stop myself from writing more because I want to write more.
Why? Why? Why stop yourself?
Because I'm also, uh, rewriting 4 for 1 South, so I had to
Oh,
get into that.
okay.
So, I've
Okay. Well,
rewritten,
that
like,
counts.
10 chapters of 4 for 1 South. I'm literally projecting by the end of October, I'll be done with 4 for 1 South, and I'll be able to write a brand new banging query and send that
Nice.
mofo off.
Oh,
So
great. Okay, awesome.
also, what's in your fucking mug? I have to ask.
Beer
Yeah, but what beer? What brand?
and light beer.
What brand?
Michelob
Okay, there
Ultra.
you go. See, that's I needed to know. The viewers
Well,
needed to
the
know.
as well, only reason why because it has low sugar, and otherwise, if I have too much sugar, I can't sleep. But I gotta like go to work early in the morning, so I do
Yeah,
like a light beer. But
nice.
I like a good stout beer on occasion. If I know, like I can
Oh,
take my
fuck
time
yeah.
with it, and like I don't have to wake up early in the morning. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but when work nights or weeknights, stick with the light beer.
That's pretty smart. Like,
Yeah.
I prefer to only drink on nights that I don't have to wake up for work the next day.
You
Um,
know what? I mean, I kind of have one beer every night, but it's a light
yeah.
beer.
Yeah, that's not
Um,
bad. I'm drinking this heavy hitting shit right here. This is like 8%, 16
oh, shit.
ouncers. Yeah,
Well, nice.
yeah,
Well,
so
I drank too much Saturday night. I
yeah.
had, like, a hangover yesterday.
Ah, that sucks.
It was my son's birthday. I got off work. I knew it was off Sunday, and I drank, like, vodka and beer,
Nice.
and yeah, I was like, yeah, at the party yesterday was at my mom and dad's. I'm like, "Oh my god, I need some Advil. I need some food." Like, "Oh my god."
For sure.
I was regretting it,
Yeah,
but whatever.
been there, done that.
Yeah, yeah. And then I bought me 2 bottles of wine. They had these really cool Frankenstein and,
Oh,
Dracula wine bottles,
that's
and
awesome.
honestly, I bought them for the wine bottles. The red wine I don't typically drink red wine, but, and I'm debating on not if I should open them or just leave them, but the bottles are so cool. They're just so
That's
cool, and
awesome.
it's cheap wine, though. It was like $10.
Yeah. You can find
But
good wine for 10 bucks sometimes.
yeah, but I was gonna say it's the same company that does Snoop Dogg's and Martha Stewart's Chardonnay. I fucking love that Chardonnay, just so you
Oh,
guys know.
wow.
If you're looking for a cheap Chardonnay that's good, Martha Stewart's, I think it's by 19 Crimes. Her Chardonnay is really good. I feel like if she was gonna slap her name on a cheap label, she was gonna make sure it was good, and it's pretty good. And it's like
Yeah,
10 bucks. It's pretty good.
yeah. That's pretty
But
sweet.
yeah. Yeah. But anyway, guys, so I just thought, I wanted to talk about magic systems because I have to figure out my magic system, my next
Yeah,
book. I'm probably gonna have to pick your brain, Ken.
for
I
sure.
it's there's witches involved, and I really want to give them a totally different magic, and I haven't even figured out the setting yet. I don't want it to be in a forest because I've done that twice
Yeah.
already, and I've got to change it. So I need to pick your brain on a different setting. I thought about maybe like a boat on their way to an island or something. I don't know. But anyway,
I'm your Huckleberry.
okay, thank you so much
Yep,
because I gotta figure this out. But anyway, you guys, I know this is a short episode. We just want to say thank you, our listeners. We really thank you. We ask if you enjoy listening to our podcast that you would give us a review or a star rating. That just helps boost us so that more people can find us. We already have a
hell yeah.
couple of star ratings on both iTunes and Spotify. So thank you to whoever you are. We
Appreciate
really
you,
appreciate that. We
for
do. We
sure.
really appreciate you guys. And we kind of have some fun things that we want to plan. I got to pick Ken's brain about something. We kind of talked about it a little bit, but we kind of got to tweak it out a little bit. I wanted to interview some authors. I have a friend who has a book coming out soon that I'd like for us to interview. So we have some fun things coming up. And
Hell yeah.
Ken, I mean, I don't know if you're a big if you love Halloween, but I really would love to do a Halloween episode,
I
a
fucking
special.
love Halloween.
Awesome. I knew it. I knew you were like my
Yeah,
my company, man. I love that.
yep,
Okay, good. I don't know. I kind of want to like plan like a Halloween episode. I don't know what it's gonna be yet.
that'd be
We could talk about it and plan it, but I kind of want to do like a little bonus special episode. Maybe we will wear costumes. I don't know.
yeah, we'll see.
Maybe we'll play some games, we'll do some trivia, I don't know, but we wanna have some
Cool.
fun with you guys. The holidays coming up. I love the holidays, my favorite time of the season. I love Halloween's my
Yeah.
favorite, but I also love Christmas. Thanksgiving's kinda like in the middle in between it. I'm kinda like, whatever, but I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
fuck
there for the food.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
The
Thanksgiving,
food's cool.
Schmakesgiving. Yeah.
Yeah,
The turkey's
but
great, but yeah,
dude,
it's all
the
about
the
Christmas
the
and
chills
Halloween.
of the air in October and the smell of the
Thank
wood
you.
fires starting,
Yes, the
oh,
leaves, the wet leaves when it rains, like, oh my
oh,
god, come
I
on.
love
I'm just
October.
yeah, my favorite month, my favorite time of the year, but I'm a Christmas girly.
Yeah,
I love Christmas.
yeah,
I always say Thanksgiving makes Thanksgiving. It's all about Christmas.
yeah,
I
100%.
literally go from Halloween to Christmas.
Agreed, agreed. I'll eat the fuck out of some turkey, but I love those 2
Yeah, I mean,
bookends.
there's like that one day where I'm a Thanksgiving
Yeah,
girl, and I'm eating the turkey and the stuffing and the potatoes and the
yeah,
cranberry and all that shit, pumpkin pie.
yeah,
Yeah, but then after that, it's back to Christmas, y'all. Okay.
exactly. Yeah,
But anyway, we'll plan something fun. But anyway, thanks guys for listening. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks. As always, go to our Instagram page and our Twitter page if you have any
For
questions or
sure.
suggestions on things, on topics that you want us to discuss. Like maybe you have questions or you just, whatever, right? Um, Drop a comment or message us or email us. And don't
Yeah.
forget to email us your query and your first pages. We want to help you guys. Remember, we are here to help, inspire, and celebrate with each of you, just as we hope that we can celebrate each other. It's going to happen, Ken. I know it's going to happen. We're going to get
Yes.
agented. We're going to get published. It's happening.
Fuck yeah.
It's happening. I know it's happening because we're not going to quit. And the only
No,
reason why it's not
never.
going to happen is if we
Queries are
quit.
important. Queries
And
are important, people. Remember
queries
that.
are important. Like I've
Yeah.
been saying.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks for listening. Bye. That's it for today's episode, friends. We hope you learned something new today. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube under Two Writers Walk Into a Bar podcast. Our YouTube episodes will upload on Thursdays, the day after the show airs, if you want to watch. And if you want your query letter and first 3 pages critiqued and read on air by us, send them to our email at twowritersinabar@gmail.com. Put query on air in the subject line. We will read them on a first come, first served basis. Remember, we are here to help, inspire, and celebrate. Two Writers Walk Into a Bar podcast is produced by Bravo Media Group.